On day 8 of my 12 days of trace, we're drinking Weller Millennium. Welcome back, and if you've been following me for the last 8 days or so, I really appreciate it. On my Buffalo Trace, or on my 12 days of trace, 12 days of Buffalo Trace products, all culminating and ending on Christmas Day. The last 3 days have all been Van Winkle products, so Old Rip Van Winkle 10 year, then Lot B, then Pappy 15. Today we are reviewing a very special bottle. This is the Weller Millennium. I also only have a sample of this, like I only had a sample with the Pappy, because this is a $6,000 to $7,000 MSRP bottle, which is absurd. Coming in at 99 proof, Weller Millennium has a fancy box, a fancy story, and is just obscenely expensive, even at MSRP, not even secondary. Secondary, interestingly enough, kind of falls in at MSRP now because I think people just aren't springing for that kind of money, which makes sense. This is a 1 ounce sample, which I purchased. So I'm only going to drink half of the sample because if this is as good as some people have said, I'm going to need this for a future video, this other half sample. So this is a blend of straight bourbon and wheat whiskeys distilled in 2000, 2003, 2005, and 2006. From what I've seen, I don't know if any of them specifically say how old each of those vintages are, unless that all of them got, dumped and bottled in 2024. If that's the case, we're looking at some very old whiskeys, but I don't know if that's true. So 3% distilled in 2000, 50% distilled in 2003, 40% in 2005, 7% distilled in 2006. Yeah, with that, let me get into it. Ooh, okay. To me, it noses almost like a really good WLW, where you have some of the older kind of funk to it, but it has this like pear or apple note in there too. I mean, this smells like a vintage whiskey, and I recently had the 2018 and 21 WLW. Not from my 12 days of trace, just from celebrating special occasions with different friends and stuff like that. And like this pear apple thing, along with this dusty, funky oak, is what really stands out. And for this to do that at 99 proof, I mean, there's like the pear, this thickness, that vintage kind of funk. I mean, that smells really special, and it doesn't have a lot of the same Buffalo Trace notes, even like Buffalo Trace weeded notes. So I'm not really getting like heavy strawberry. I'm not getting like typical Buffalo Trace grape on this. This is unique, to say the least. The mouthfeel on that is ridiculous. I mean, you get everything. You get caramel, you get oak, you get confectionery sugar, you get apple and pear, you get baking spice, but you get this dusty funk from like old releases throughout different distilleries. Man. And then there's this like cocktail syrup texture and flavor that you can like sometimes get on a really good Brown-Forman product, but like this fruit cocktail syrupiness on the texture and the sweetness. And then you couple that with like the pear and the apple and the vintage funk. Man, that is special. Okay, I am back, and this is filmed on a different day. It was actually kind of a happy accident. I deleted the last 2 minutes of this episode, the Weller Millennium, and I'm glad that I did. But before I get into kind of the fun thing that I figured out about the Weller Millennium, I noted as the glass was sitting there, that vintage funk really started building, and then the fresh strawberry started coming through a lot more. And I really started to appreciate it more and more. Now, does that justify a $6,000 to $7,000 MSRP price tag? I don't know if anything justifies that at MSRP. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it is fantastic. And so here's where the happy accident comes into play. I tried the tiniest drop of this later against my favorite year of William LaRue Weller, and having them back to back, the Weller Millennium unquestionably was better to me and more preferable than the WLW. So that's hard to say because of what the price tag goes for, and you could buy several of the William LaRue Wellers at secondary price that you can get for MSRP of the Millennium. So I'm not saying that I'm gonna go out and try and buy a bottle of Weller Millennium or anything like that, but it certainly is a very special pour, and the fact that 99 proof, it was able to wipe out one of my all-time favorites, that says a lot. That vintage funk, that fresh strawberry, just everything about it. I mean, it is a truly, truly special, exceptional pour, but at $6,000-$7,000 MSRP, I just can't justify that. But it is very happy to try it. I'm glad that I grabbed a sample of it. I might try and grab more samples as time goes by, just to break those out on special occasions. If you have that kind of money and you don't care about it, then I would certainly say, yeah, go for it. But me, I could buy multiple King of Kentuckys, WLWs, things like that for the price of one of those. So just can't justify it. But it's a once in a lifetime pour, and that really shines when you try it next to some other really good things. By itself, you appreciate how good it is, but you don't appreciate it to the full extent. Like, it really shined when you drink it next to one of the best things ever. So that's those are my final thoughts on that. And check out tomorrow. I got a guest episode. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be really fun. And yeah, see you guys tomorrow.